I think I'm pretty good at frame trapping. I'm I like doing it. I like seeing that counter hit like flare up. I'm like, why are you hitting a button? Like I dare you to hit a button, and they hit a button and I just kill them for it. It feels so good. So good. I think frame trapping is a really big part about like pattern recognition, and another part like intuition. So you're really like, yeah. Let me set the dummy. Guard recovery. So first about like trying to frame trap, you have to first know like what you can use, like what buttons and what sequences work. Will they counter hit the opponent? Will they work against 3 frames? Will they work against 4 frame characters? Like that's like a big thing. Knowing what the gaps are. So like for Laura, for example, like have her guard on. There we go. Alright, so like stand light kick into crouch strong, stand strong into crouch strong, and then like all of these, like yeah, this is a nice, and like counter hit confirmed. So knowing like what you can get off of it is really big too. So like, well, this might counter hit them, but I don't know if I'll be able to convert off of it. It will be too far, or I can't hit confirm this normal really, like, or it does this button doesn't cancel, like. So knowing what the reward is for it is very important. So honestly, yeah, I like to frame trap with stand light kick a lot, and because it also goes into a command grab. So if you have a command grab character, or even just like a normal throw, like knowing what will also be safe to like layer that up, because that's another important thing in frame trapping, is getting the opponent to move. But sometimes you're like, okay, every time I hit like this string, like stand like stand strong, after the stand strong, they're always hitting a button here, and you're like, okay, that's part of the pattern recognition part, is knowing if they're like always gonna hit a button during the sequencing. So that's what I really look first, like when I'm testing my opponent. I keep it kind of nice and tight to begin with, and then if they're not biting like on anything, so like I'm doing this and like, okay, nothing's really opening them up, then you can go for like either like a shimmy to see if they're like delay teching or anything, or you can go for extended pressure, like stagger pressure. So that's kind of part of the intuition part, is trying to feel like, it feels like they're gonna hit a button here, like I'm gonna keep it like kind of harass them, and then now I'm gonna keep it tight to try to like open them up. So because sometimes people have little patterns that you might not recognize from the data that you're given, that like, okay, they're really only blocking right now, and that might not be true. You might see that they're delaying like a jab every like 9th or 10th frame, or like on the 11th frame of them blocking, they're doing like delay techs in between. So that's where the stagger pressure will come in to start opening them up, so that these true frame traps are going to start working more, because you're going to annoy them being like, well, they keep like walking up, it feels like the pressure is never ending, and so that starts them to activate him to start doing like DPs, jabs, something to get them to stop like blocking. And that's really, really important to know when to switch between a true frame trap, like a 3 frame or 4 frame frame trap, and then switching it between like more unsafe stagger pressure. And then it's kind of a mixture of like, now like once you start playing that game, you have to kind of switch back and forth, depending on the situation, because sometimes you don't really need to go for this extended pressure if you have like a good life lead. So that's like another like really big thing about frame traps. It's like sometimes it's just always best to go through for this. If you have like, especially, you don't want to take a risk, and like especially against Cammy, she'd like counter hits crouch jab into stand strong low forward, and now you're on your back and you dealt a lot of damage, and now that life lead might be gone. Like yeah, so I would really like be familiar, like, and try to keep conscious like when you're like beginning like frame traps, to keep it tight. It's more like the stagger pressure will come with time, and that's against opponents who are really either willing to just like delay buttons a lot or just not do really much at all because you're just kind of like getting, because they realize that okay, if you're doing like these true like frame like traps, I can just block them and then I'm out. Look at the space in between us. Cammy could just like backdash and I couldn't really do anything about it. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions though about frame traps? This is nice because instead of putting up a YouTube video right away, I can like actually answer questions anybody might have about frame traps. Yeah, it's a lot of just a lot of pattern recognition and feeding them the similar patterns. Like, all right, I'm gonna do like this, this, and this, or like they really hit off of like 3 hit buttons a lot, or like. There was like a Balrog earlier today that I was doing like stand jab with Cammy and a back medium punch, and they were hitting buttons every single time. But I didn't realize that the stand fierce on counter hit didn't connect on the 6th frame, so it would never combo. And I was like, am I just messing it up? And I feel like they kept doing it because I kept messing up the conversion. I kept committing into an option that I didn't know. So like, sure, I knew that stand jab and a back medium punch would yield a frame trap if they mashed 3 frame, but I didn't have the conversion ready and it cost me. So knowing the conversions is very, very important. And then I put in the lab and I was like, oh, back medium punch, counter hit, obviously, duh, Mia, you can link DP into it. Just link DP, it's fine. If nobody has any questions, I think that's it. I hope it helps. So when you keep pressuring with stand medium punch and then switch to stand medium punch, crouch medium punch, you're not confirming that the stand medium punch is blocked. I am. You can also buffer a special move in between. It's a little harder. But sometimes if they do yield a hit, all right, then that recognizes, for me, that recognizes, okay, is it a counter hit? Because if it's a counter hit, I'll go into crouch medium punch right away. Or if it's just a regular hit, I'm like, or they might like flip out or something. Oh, they jumped or they backdashed. Or they got, caught holding up. Because if it's not a counter hit, they're like, all right, you're like, what are you doing? Like, they must have been like backdashing or trying to jump, you know? Do you have any drills for confirming off frame traps? What you could do is, you could record the dummy to just, like, one of the recording actions is just block. And you could, set guard recovery, and make sure that you have this off, the playback recording. So this should work. Right? Guard recovery, oh, okay. Alright. Yeah, and sometimes they're blocking. Yeah, and then now you have to confirm off of this. Yeah. So that's a way you can practice your frame traps with like Laura. Yeah. Because they're set to random guard or random jab. Yeah. So that's the way you can practice your frame traps. Yeah. Any other questions before I conclude the lesson? Yeah, I've always frame traps have came to me naturally because I really like to be aggressive when I have plus frames. I want to like really like I want to be in there. Okay, so like I said earlier, like what I really like to do in this game, I like I guess in general, I like to like get a whiff punish, or a poke, a confirm, and then I'm in that ass for the rest of the round. That's my favorite way to play Street Fighter, is whiff punish to just being straight in that ass and like not letting up until they like die. So like that's why I feel like my frame traps kind of like came naturally, because I like to extend my pressure a lot. Yeah. frame traps can be blown up by invincible reversals, yes. Except, so like here, we'll how's it going, Spaceman, by the way? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, it's gonna get blown up. So that's part of like the awareness, you know, of it. It's like, okay, do they have meter to blow these up? Because if they do have meter to blow this up, like that, sometimes you are like, all right, is the risk like worth the reward? And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But some characters with slower reversals, like Urian and Falk and Ed, frame traps can also be reversal bait, which is funny. So where are you, Urian? Urian,
kneel before me when in my presence.
My favorite way to play Street Fighter is to be in that ass. It's true. It's true though. Alright, let's record guard recovery. Let's record that. Let's just have them. Dang it! Haha! Oops. So, dang it. See? This is all reversal bait. I'm doing stand light kick, crouch light kick, crouch jab. And no matter what the Urian, where they do it at, they're not going to hit me. Because these lights recover too quickly. This becomes an OS, actually. So this, yeah, this string is really strong against those characters that I mentioned. Urian, Falk, Ed, characters with slower reversals, EX reversals. So these light strings, this is all a frame trap. If they mash a button in between any of these frames, they're going to get counter hit. Yeah, or they're either gonna get counter hit, or they're gonna have to just block. Oh shoot. Yeah, other characters have these strings too, like jab strings, you know? Other characters have that. See? Another way you can use, at least with Laura, you can use frame traps, is with special moves, actually. So what Laura can do is she can cancel her, like, late cancel her low forward. That is actually gonna interrupt mashing. And she can also do that with, crouch fierce, I believe, maybe. Yeah. It's a lot easier with low forward, but... So this is a way to also counter hit your opponent by stealing, you're basically stealing frames because you're going from -1 to like a special move that might counter hit them trying to take their turn back. So if you do low forward and you see them hit this button like almost every single time, it's like, oh, this is my turn. You can hit them with one of these. Or somebody who like might try to like trade off of this this crouch fierce into like thunderclap. Or like try to mash under it, you can do the light bolt instead. Because to catch them if they're actually truly reacting to the fireball, or just hitting a button after every time you see the crouch sphere. So that's another thing you could you can use frame traps. Not every character can do this, so, or they can, but light bolt is not. A light bolt is safe. Not every character has a safe special move they can just go into, you know. Yeah. Oh, I hope it helps. I don't know. I enjoy counter hitting people, and I want to share my knowledge.